Okay, so this is Broke Stories Volume 4. My college experience, okay? My college experience as far as I graduated high school, barely got out of high school with I think I graduated with like a 1.9 GPA. My grades were so terrible I couldn't even get into some of the most kind of below average schools in the Chicagoland area. Basically, I couldn't go anywhere hardly but certain schools. Okay, it was certain schools I probably could have went to. One school out of state, I could have went to my grandfather's alma mater, which is Mississippi Valley State. I didn't really want to go because I just was like, um, I kind of was like, this is some different. That's where he from. Down south and up north is two different worlds. So I was like, I was kind of deterred from that. But the local schools I couldn't get into, like Chicago State. I couldn't get into uh, Northern Illinois University where I really wanted to go. Couldn't get into because my SATs or no, actually ACTs was really low. I mean, a lot of people, man. I'm a lot more intelligent, than I was when I was coming out of high school. But I still was smart because I graduated high school at 17 years old. So I was in college. Ended up going to a small, literally, where I grew up pretty much was the south suburbs of Chicago. I went to actual south suburban college. Okay. I was so, and then I had to say, man, pretty much I had a lot of thick skin. I was not the person that, just this is a sidebar, but I wasn't the person that would just haul off and hit somebody if they ragged on me. I remember, a friend from high school, one of his homies. He was a barber, pretty cool guy, man. He actually gave me a car. Some of my best friends, I say, they literally gave me a car. He was the second friend. The friend I grew up with, he gave me a car. This guy, he loaned me his car, whatever. But this was one of my friends that I played basketball with a lot. He was actually on the basketball team. He ended up quitting because he couldn't get a better role, but uh, he kind of wanted to be, more of a starter or whatever. But you know, I didn't even dress. The coach was like, you could practice and you could travel, and that was pretty much of a big deal. Because I was going to a very competitive school as far as basketball, but you know, this guy, him and his friend, I never forget. I was going to Chicago State to file an application to get admitted to the school, and they was just ragging on me. I can't really never necessarily say that I really somebody ragged on me so bad that it made me cry, but these guys, man, they ragged on me, man, hard, man. I mean, you know, they, what I'm saying, pretty much, man. Damn, if I didn't cry, I probably did cry. But the thing about me, I have tough skin. I'm not the person that just gets so frustrated that I just start cussing somebody out or just beat them up. Because at the end of the day, I legitimately, like I said, I had a 1.9 GPA. I had a very low SAT, ACT score. So it's not like that didn't happen. They knew about it. So it's like, if I'm not the type of person that doesn't accept my faults. If my faults hurt, it hurts. But I mean, definitely on the course of my collegiate journey, I would definitely have redemption. But yeah, man, they ragged on me hard, man. It hurt because I actually wanted to go away because I wanted to get away from my parents. You know, what ended up happening, I still had no car. I was 17, graduated in '98, Thorn Ridge High School, and basically, I pretty much I had to stay home with my parents for that first year of my college experience. And the reason why I'm very frontal about my life is because mainly it's like, to me, I don't really care too much because I don't really have nothing to lose. I'm very much successful already. I'm on my journey, and I'm getting higher and higher. So I don't have really no faults to kind of give my journey. And most likely this is something that is gonna help some people. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing, the reason why I'm very honest, and I don't cap that hard or hardly at all. Like a lot of you people. But outside of that, my first year actually at South Suburban College was actually great. Because the thing about it is, where I went, I mean, the school was very, very nice. I mean, this is all the taxpayers' money from all of these different suburbs and stuff like that. And one thing that I learned from that college was that if you literally if you walk inside that, I don't know, if I haven't been there in a while. I drove past there a couple times recently, and it looks even nicer than it did when I went there. And one thing about that college is that when you walk in, they had a real nice fountain. It was actually a fountain where, I mean, obviously most fountains you throw change in there, and it was just like that. And then one thing that's special about this college is, one thing about me as well. If you don't know already, I absolutely love history. Okay, one of the classes of very few that I had an A+ in or whatever was history class. Shout out to Mr. Gurley. Okay, I absolutely have a passion for history. Okay, um, now the thing is about this college, that's one of the things that's so special. If you're somebody like myself that is a local history traveler, like you really have a desire to travel somewhere and kind of figure out things. It's very few people that are probably like that, I imagine. But if you wanted to know the history of the south suburbs of Chicago, because one thing about Chicago now versus how it was 70 to 80 years ago, south suburbs of Chicago, and even Chicago itself, was primarily white. Okay, so the special thing about South Suburban College, not to mention how nice they were, and then I discovered the two magical words, which was financial aid, and I'll get to that. But this college has old pictures of the different towns in the south suburbs, and the pictures tell all of the story of how basically these towns were all white. um you know uh it had a few pictures. It had one black dude in the picture. It was like he's one black dude on the fire department or something like that. It's like, man, if you walk around this college, man, it's like, man, it is tripped out. All of these old pictures of these towns like Dalton, South Holland, Homewood, all these different towns that have either a mixed community demographically, or just primarily mostly African American. Uh, that was one of the special things about that college, because I didn't really, I knew, but the pictures just kind of tell most of the story. Like they say, a pictures are worth 1,000 words. And man, I mean, I had no car, And another thing that about me is that even the fact that I did not have a car, um, is that I that didn't let that stop me, man. I was, I was pretty much, I was like, man, I was like Forrest Gump, man. I would, I lived about, I want to say 3 towns over, no, about 2 towns over from the college, and it was about probably I want to say about 12 miles maybe. I mean, I didn't get a car for a while. I had to go. I had to walk quite a few times from my college from my house to my college, man. I mean, the first I say couple months, I had to. Sometimes I get a ride from my mother. Sometimes I get a ride from a random person or whatever. But the first, yeah, the first semester, I definitely had combination of I would get my mother's car. At the time she had a van, and I would drive that car or walk. If I had to walk, I would walk to the school and take my classes. And I have to tell you, I mean, my first year at South Suburban College, man, I had to take remedial reading classes. That's where I met my buddy, man. That we kind of had a falling out, but buddy slash co-investor. So 20 plus years, man, and you put some money in a situation, and people kind of show their true colors, man. A lot of times, unfortunately, that's just the case. But yeah, met him in reading class, and the funny thing is one of the guys that I went to school with and played baseball with, because I played baseball, and that was his mother that was the professor of that class. So ended up taking that class. Then the next semester, I finally got a car. My mother gave me one of her cars that she bought. Uh, the used car she had bought like a whole bunch of cars because one of my father's friends had a used car dealer or whatever. So I had a 1987 Toyota Camry that man, it was like a spaceship, if you ask me, man. I was right, man. I rode that thing everywhere, you know. But yeah, second semester I ended up getting a car, getting a work study, actually getting financial aid. Bought me I bought me some Jordans for the first time without my mother, and you know, got a job. My first IT job, as a computer lab attendant. Okay, so I was just go around people in the lab. They needed help, and somebody was like, "Man, the computer froze." I'm like, and I still say this to this day, even like I support a corporation. I say, did you save all of your documents? No, I didn't save it. Oh, well, your computer is toast. You're gonna have to get you a replacement. But like back then, it was like, okay, a lot of the computers I think it was running on Windows 98, right? So Windows 98 was real buggy. You know what I'm saying? So and then I'll say this also to you young people. If you in the Chicagoland area, I probably went to college with your mother. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that, yeah, that's what my job was at the time, and you know back after the second semester, I had some classes in, and I just a friend of mine was like, he went to Parkland College right down in Champaign, and he got a scholarship to play basketball down there, and he had an apartment, and then he like, man, just come down and kick it with me and see how it is down here. So uh, I had I had my little Camry, so I just drove down there, and man, I mean, when I went down there, I was like blown away because I'd never been down in Champagne, and it was like a oasis for me. It was like, wow, okay, dang, okay. And then I didn't even know. I felt so stupid because it was the same college. I mean, I don't know if this is everywhere, but like one of my roommates when I actually went down there to live. But long story short, like I said, I absolutely went down there, stayed for I think like a weekend. We went to the movies. We saw Cruel Intentions with his basketball buddies or whatever. And man, I remember leaving that place with a drive that I never felt in probably in my life. I mean, other than other times or whatever, but I was like, it was absolutely no way that I was not going to come back and enroll in that college, same college, and then also try to get me a little apartment or something. So, basically, when I was driving back to my mom's house or whatever, I was like, Mom, this place, man, I gotta go here, and this, that, and the third, long story short, got all of the application stuff ready, and sent it to Parkland. Uh, this was about this time was about 99. Actually, it's not. It wasn't even 90. It wasn't even 99. Actually, yeah, it was 99. So I didn't even wait till the fall semester. I just I went down there to enroll in the summer, and my mother went down there with me with the Camry or whatever, and basically enroll pay for all of the whatever was needed to enroll in the college. Then we went to this apartment that I liked because I was like, kind of looking at the apartments, and I'll never forget that it was apartment complex that basically was it was called Melrose Apartments. And I mean, I went on a tour to this apartment building, and I have to say, I've never been rich financially. Okay, I've been around some very rich people all throughout my life, of course. Okay, I've know people personally that have been rich, um, but this apartment complex was probably the first time. This was the first apartment I had, and I had roommates. My mother paid for the that whatever the security deposit was, and got me down. Got approved for the apartment through co-signing and stuff like that. And the I think my rent was like $300 and something for I had access to an apartment. And this apartment, man, I mean, this actual complex, this I don't I've never even seen an apartment complex like this in the Chicagoland area. Okay, I mean, I'm talking even downtown, maybe downtown, maybe somewhat, but I even a downtown high rise doesn't have all of this. Well, the apartment had at the time, it was just one level, and it was like three levels or whatever. So you had I mean, standard, basically oven, refrigerator, and then you also had your own washer and dryer in the unit, and then it had a main area where you could put a TV, and it had like basic cable in it, and AC, heat, central air, and your own. Each room had their own bathroom. So I mean, that was pretty decent. It had a little patio area, whatever. But I mean, the amenities was crazy. It had two basketball courts, one main basketball court that was like it was like the equivalent of something. If you ever saw the movie He Got Game, it was like that because it had lights at night, so you could play basketball at night. And it also had tennis courts. It had a volleyball court with the sand, a swimming pool inside, like the area where it was like indoor section. Had a swimming pool, had a pool table, ping pong table, like foosball table, and they had a video entertainment area where it was a big giant stupid TV with like surround sound, quality surround sound speakers, with like a little fireplace. And then they had a computer lab next door. I mean, when I talk about I was spoiled out the gate with an apartment with my own little room, like I was just doing it. I mean, it like made up for a lot of stuff that I had to go through. Like, man, I'm talking about, oh man, I literally, I mean, I've never, to live like that. Some of the richest people that I've ever been in their house, because I installed cable. I talked about this on my broke story. I think volume 2, I believe. Actually, probably maybe I don't know which volume, but I talked about when I installing cable. But one of the richest dudes that I've seen as far as the stuff that he had an outdoor pool and a tennis court. I think he might have had a basketball court, but it wasn't a full length basketball court. So, to be long story short, I ain't never seen no mansion that had everything, that the amenities that I had in this apartment complex. I mean, probably the only person I could think of that has this is probably the Michael Jordan mansion, maybe. Okay, but the thing is that yeah, that was my first apartment, first time being away from my parents. Went to Parkland, which was kind of like a woodsy type feel college, very competitive. That was my first time in business. It was my first time I majored in business. Um, partied a lot. I mean, I've never had the experiences as far as with women down there compared to like back in Chicago is like night and day. Okay, it just I don't even know why I didn't even stay. Like I mean it was just crazy experiences. I mean I haven't even I don't even want to even go. I can't go on in on that on the public domain. So I'm not even gonna go there. Okay, but yeah, but anyway, yeah, the ladies were definitely lovely, but I mean, I ended up like I said majoring in business. My business class, my intro to business class was like very competitive. I mean, the professor, he basically demanded that we get Wall Street Journal. We had to get a Wall Street Journal subscription. Um, his father, I think, was talking about he was talking about his father and the beginning days of State Farm, how they was making so much money and stuff like that. Very good professor. Long story short, I had to drop my major in business because it was very competitive and very challenging. It was not easy at all, and I ended up just taking just general classes and stuff like that because it was very very difficult. Um, the thing about it is that's the thing about business. Business is not. It sounds easy, but it's not. Okay, but I ended up having some very good experiences. I worked for Godfather Pizza. Worked for Sam's Club down there. I ended up, you know, pretty much just. I also worked for Meyer, and then I worked for like some testing company that did testing for standardized tests, and they warehoused all these tests in little boxes. I think I was making like $5 an hour. And the odd thing about that experience was I was working with people that had a master's degree, and even some people that had a bachelor's degree. It was kind of weird. One dude, he had a degree in engineering, but he was strung out on crack. So yeah, I mean it was very weird. But the thing is that yeah, I ended up kind of working a long while, and I got some money. By the time I think the second semester, I got enough money to like pay like a couple months in advance of my rent. So I just quit all my jobs and I just focused on going to school. And I kicked it a while with like my friend that he went to NIU, because I still wanted to go to NIU, but I just was like, I don't know. I at Parkland, and I went over there and kicked it with him for the weekend. It was pretty cool. Went to I think Bradley for a day, because I went to Peoria, and basically I was like, one of my friends, I think he had one of his girlfriends lived. She had a friend that lived in Peoria. So yeah, I mean that was basically. This is gonna have to be part one, because I went to school so long that I have to break this up in parts. So I'll just say that this is part one.